Good evening, everyone. Salamat malam to everyone here. Welcome to European Research Day. European Research Day is the annual flagship event of Euraxis ASEAN. It's been held for 5 consecutive years, and we are here to provide information on opportunities both at the national level of the EU member states and at the European level in the framework of Horizon 2020, later on Horizon Europe. And we are here to inform all researchers and scientists of all disciplines across Indonesia and ASEAN to collaborate with research peers in Europe. So this afternoon specifically, we are going to talk about the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions. And this session is really to have the message on career development, on mobility, that of course Europe is one of the best places, for research and also for scientific collaboration. My name is Jenny Lindell Mako. I was also a Marie Curie ITN fellow. I did my PhD research in the University of Bradford, but also did part of the research in Barcelona, Spain. And today we are joined by three incredible speakers who will talk to you a little bit more about this incredible program. First of all, we have Dr. Susan Renzo-Vasu from Euraxis ASEAN. We have Miss Gladys Wojciechowska. I hope I pronounced that right, Gladys. I will try again a bit later, okay? Who is a Marie Curie Fellow. She is joining us all the way from Białystok. I hope that I can pronounce that as well, 2 hours away from Warsaw. And we also have Dr. Wichak Ananduta, who is also a Marie Curie Fellow, and he's joining us all the way from Delft, the Netherlands. If you don't know Delft, that's close to The Hague, if I'm not mistaken, close to Rotterdam. So with that, I'd like to give the room to Dr. Renzo-Vasu to talk to us a little bit more about this Marie Curie Fellow, Marie Curie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, and of course, a little bit about Euraxis ASEAN. Dr. Susan?
Thank you so much, Jenny. So I'm sharing my screen here just to talk a bit about the agenda today. So what we're talking about are the opportunities to do a PhD in Europe as part of an MSCA funded training network. And then we have our two MSCA fellows, actually 3 MSCA fellows. They will give us some practical advice, how they applied, how they found out about the opportunity and how they're experiencing it. And then in the second part of the session today, we'll talk about the postdoctoral opportunities with an MSCA individual fellowship. So I'll start with a presentation just to explain to you what MSCA actually means. And of course, it stands for Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions. This is basically a part of the big EU research program, which is currently called Horizon 2020, but is going to be succeeded by Horizon Europe in the beginning of next year. So the European member countries and partner countries have a joint research program, and they also have a joint research fund. They have a joint budget to fund joint collaborations. And as part of this big pot of money, Marie Curie Actions are earmarked for career development of researchers, and this includes researchers of any nationality. So of course, you joining us from Indonesia today, this is an opportunity for you. Now, what we're talking about today first are the innovative training networks, the so-called ITN, and these are opportunities for you to do PhD training. The MSCA as a whole funding program are all about mobility. So people that are awarded a fellowship have to move. If they're coming from outside of Europe, for example, Indonesia, they will move to Europe to carry out their PhD training there. If they're already in Europe, they would move to a different part. And also, as we've heard from Jenny at the beginning, these programs are usually structured in a way that you will move around different European countries throughout your PhD training. So what are the MSCA ITN? They are really high quality, unique training opportunities. So it's very unique doctoral training and research career development for you. What makes them special is that they are interdisciplinary and they are international. That means they're usually a consortium of different partner organizations from different sectors that are offering the PhD training. So this is what makes it interdisciplinary. These are not only universities, but these are also institutions from other sectors. So for example, private or public research centers, but also industry players that are forming this group of research actors that are training early career researchers to become the top leaders in their field. What types of ITN are there? This is a bit confusing. Once you start reading information about the ITN, you'll come across different types of networks. What is important at this point, the one thing that you need to walk away with is that all of them offer very unique opportunities to work with academic and non-academic partners, meaning with universities, research centers, but also industry collaborators in an international setting. So you'll be working with supervisors from different countries and also from different academic settings. So let's look at some of these that are available. First of all, the European training networks. I would think these are the classic ITNs. They focus on interdisciplinary training, and you would have a combination of academic and industry expertise. And as I said, you would have short placements as part of your PhD training in different parts of Europe, but it could be, if this is part of the particular discipline that you're in, it might also include other parts of the world where partner organizations are based. The aim here is to encourage creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So really to set you on the right track for you to advance your career. European industrial networks is a different form of training network. They combine training from academic and non-academic partners. That means you as a PhD student would spend half of your time doing training in the non-academic sector, i.e. with an industry partner. And you would also normally have two supervisors, one from the academic setting and also from the non-academic sector. And again, the idea is for you to be trained in different fields, to really be at the top when you come out with your PhD, that you can start your career at different tracks, whatever suits your needs and whatever suits your career development plans. And then finally, there's the European Joint Doctorates, and as the name implies, these are programs that will award either a joint, a double, or a multiple doctorate degree. And again, like with the other training networks, you would spend time doing your PhD research in various sectors, and you will also have specific supervision that is tailored to your needs. Now, this is the question I'm sure you will wonder: where in Europe can you find these networks, these programs? And they are all across Europe. As I said at the beginning, this is a program that is funded by the European Commission, and both the member states of the European Union, the 27 countries on the left-hand side, and those countries on the right-hand side that are associated with this joint research program are beneficiaries of this, which means you will find partners in ITNs based in all of these countries. And I put the UK here in bracket because currently, of course, you will also find ITNs with UK partner organizations. And this is going to continue, I think, for the next couple of years. What happens thereafter remains to be seen, but at the current point in time, there are also ITNs based in the UK. You're joining this webinar at a very ideal point in time, I think. because earlier this year in May, the European Commission has just announced that they have awarded funding under this Marie Curie budget line to 147 new ITN projects. And within these 147 new research innovative training networks, there will be openings for about 2,000 PhD students. So this is really the time for you to start looking and to start planning ahead. I have put here and highlighted this, hyperlinked this, a list of all the new ITNs that have just received funding. My feeling is they will start recruiting at latest in the first quarter of 2021. So my suggestion would be for you to start looking at this list, see what is available, and start preparing an application. What about funding? Of course, this is an important question. The numbers might change. As I've said, we're currently in the transition from Horizon 2020 to Horizon Europe. Marie Curie will remain a key element of this new research program and research budget, but the individual numbers might change a little bit. Important for you to remember is that the MSCA funding is open to applicants of all disciplines and also of all nationalities. So Indonesian applicants are, of course, totally eligible to apply for this. As I said, the numbers may change. What you need to take away is the living allowance is very generous. It really allows you to just focus on your PhD studies. There is a mobility allowance so that you can meet other partners and go to conference, etc. And there's also a family allowance in case you're being accompanied by a spouse or by a partner. How do you apply? Very important. The key message here, this is not a fellowship as such. When you apply for an MSCA ITN PhD position, it's very much like applying for a job, which means there is going to be a very specific job description. The ITN projects, they will have identified already what kind of PhD subjects and topics they want to recruit PhD students for. So there'll be a very concrete job description if you want. All you need to have to do is to apply to the one that meets your background, your competencies, and of course also your interests. I'm not going through this. This is for you to look at when we share the slides with you. Of course, it's, as I said, a very standard way of applying for these, but Vichak and Gladys will share in more detail how they went about securing these fellowships. Now, this is another question that you will ask. You probably all ready to go. Where do you find these open PhD positions? And the answer is very simple. You will find it on the Euraxis website. And Euraxis is the project that Jenny and I are working for. We are working here in Euraxis Southeast Asia. And Euraxis has, most importantly, a job and funding portal. And that job and funding portal lists thousands of research jobs, fellowships, and funding opportunities in all of these European countries that are also participating in the MSCA on a daily basis. And you will find something like this. This is what the jobs and funding portal looks like when you click on the hyperlink. Don't worry right now, you'll receive the slides. And here you can see you can look for jobs according to European Research Program. You would pick the Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions, and then it will spit out every single opportunity that is funded under this program. So it's very easy for you to find out where the opportunities are. And as I said, 2,000 openings are going to become available early next year. So please do check in regularly. I think I will first stop here now, Jenny, so that we can
Thank you.
Take this to our experts, of course.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for that. So you heard it, right? There are 147 new ITN projects 2,000 PhD students can avail of this, or PhD fellows can avail of this. So please do apply and go to the Euraxis ASEAN webpage so that you can learn about this for more information. But let's find out about the experience of these two fellows. I'm sure applying for this fellowship is a journey in itself. So I'll start with Gladys. Gladys, can you tell us about your journey for the Marie Curie?
So I was looking for PhD positions, and I found through the portal that Suzanne was showing, and yeah, I applied, and now I'm going to show you just a little bit about my experiences so far, but if you have specific questions, of course, you can ask.
Yes, while Gladys is preparing her slide, just a reminder to everyone, we do have a box there that says questions, so you can send your questions, and then later on, after Wichak will give his presentation, we can accommodate as many questions as we can. Gladys, are you ready?
Okay, yes. So, hello everyone, selamat sore. My name is Gladys Wojciechowska, and I'm a PhD student, a third-year student in Poland, and I'm currently under this Cofund project, which is similar to ITN. It's just a different scheme of funding, as I understand. And a little background before I start is that I graduated from ITB, and I worked in Indonesia for a couple of years, and then I did my master's in the US. But during these periods of studying, I was studying two different set of skills, and I was looking for a PhD that can combine these skills, and luckily I found one with Marie Curie's funding in Poland. My university is called the Medical University of Białystok. It's located on the east side of Poland, and I'm showing you here pictures of my university. The first one on the top right is the beautiful palace, which is the main campus and where the administration is. Sometimes I have meetings there, but most of my work is done in the hospital, which is on the bottom left. And we have sophisticated machines for omics technologies, as pictured there, a team from Dr. Niemira, who's been very helpful for me during my studies. My program is called IMPRESS, which is an acronym for a long sentence here. It's an interdisciplinary PhD study in biomedical research, and we also study biostatistics. And there are 15 students in this program.
I'm sorry, Gladys. I can't see. Yes? I don't know if I'm the only one. I can't see your screen. Do you mind checking that again, or am I the only one? Susan and Wichak, can you see your screen? No.
No.
Yeah. Can you please?
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, there you go.
Now you can see.
Now, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry for that. So yeah, this is just to show a little bit. This is my background, and then the university and the program. So we have 15 students in different departments, but we always meet, some of us weekly for journal clubs and monthly with the organizers to just talk about our progress and if we have any issues. But we also have a yearly session, which is called the PhD seminar session, where our partner institutes from around Europe come to Białystok to listen to our progress. Last year they came here, but this year it's virtually, of course. But we also have an annual visit from the EU to check on the administrative side of our program. So I know there's a lot of meetings, gives quite pressure to always do good work and show progress, but I do appreciate that because we get early feedback and we can resolve things faster because we have a lot of meetings with them. Aside from all the responsibilities, we also have travel grants, which I definitely appreciate. I have taken advantage of these to attend trainings outside my university, through workshops and summer schools. I try to find topics that are not included in my courses, And I also attended the Marie Curie Alumni Association Assembly in Vienna last year, and it was nice to meet other Marie Curie fellows and listen to their stories, especially for those who have graduated PhD and are doing postdocs or working in industry. And I've also taken advantage of these events to network. For example, last year I joined a summer school from the NGS school, and now I'm an active member and helping them organize with their events this year. And also from a summer school 2 weeks ago from the UK, we work on modeling cell signaling pathways, and we've published it in the EBI website. So I definitely have to thank the Marie Curie funding for this, because I wouldn't have attended these events without the travel grants. So that is all from me, and I look forward to your questions later.
Thank you so much, Gladys. I mean, you've done a lot of things already, and it's incredible that it's such a short time. You've been meeting people. I love the fact that you mentioned the Marie Curie Alumni Association. I am the chair for the Marie Curie Alumni Association here in Southeast Asia. I was in Vienna. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to meet you. Would have been lovely, but hopefully in the next non-virtual General Assembly, we can see each other. Thank you so much for your sharing. We'll hear a little bit more about your life in Poland a little bit later on. But at this point, I'd like to give the floor again, all the way from Delft, the Netherlands, Dr. Witschak Ananduta, for his experience with Marie Curie. Witschak, you have the room.
Jenny, I'm going to show my screen.
Yes, please. There you go. Great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to start my presentation. Oops. So, selamat sore rekan-rekan semua. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Witschak. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Delft Center for Systems and Control at Delft University of Technology. I'm very happy to be here to share my experience as a MSCA fellow during my PhD study. Before I do so, please allow me to briefly introduce myself. I'm originally from Bali, but I grew up in Bekasi, and I obtained my bachelor degree in electrical engineering from University of Indonesia in 2011. After working for a couple of years in Jakarta, then I pursued my master degree at Delft actually, and then I continued and pursued my PhD degree in automatic control from Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, which is in Barcelona. So I graduated in 2019 in December, and my research topics revolved around distributed optimization, large-scale energy systems, system partitioning, and model predictive control. And at the moment, as I already told you, that I'm a postdoc researcher at TU Delft. I started in May, and now I'm working on game theory and monotone operator theory and their applications. What I want to share in this occasion is about my experience joining a European training network, which is called INSIGHT. INSIGHT stands for Innovative Controls for Renewable Source Integrations into Smart Energy Systems. And in this network, there were 14 PhD students located in 7 different institutions across Europe. There were actually 6 students in Barcelona, and there are also 3 here at TU Delft and some other, for instance, in Bologna and Grenoble. And there were also companies that joined this network. This network already, the project already finished in November 2019. And if you are interested to know more about this project, you may visit our website here at the www.insight-itn.eu. And what I want to share here is actually what did I get during my PhD degree, which is actually quite a lot. I got a lot of opportunities and chances to actually collaborate with my fellow students and also travels, obviously. So one of the activities that the network did is organizing workshops in summer schools. So we had in total 7 workshops in 3 years, and also 3 summer schools. And the locations were in the different institutions. So here you can see I'm in different cities in Europe presenting my progress. And this is a very good opportunity, as Gladys already told, that I got a chance to actually share my problems and difficulties throughout my research, and then I get feedback not only from fellow students but also from supervisors. And during these workshops and summer schools, we also invited researchers and experts who are doing relevant work. And also we also invited some speakers that give us that allows us to improve our soft skill, for instance, and also we can see opportunities after we graduated. And another activity that I had to do is actually research days. Originally, the plan is to visit 2 institutions within the network, but for some reasons I couldn't do it. And well, fortunately, actually, then I had to change my research days. I went to Tokyo Institute of Technology in 2018 and Arizona State University in 2019. In each university, I spent months working with an outstanding professor and with their research groups. This experience is also very nice because then not only I get the chance to collaborate with these professors, I also could experience different cultures and also did a little bit travels. And then another thing that is also very nice is attending conferences and external courses. So I could actually attend top conferences in my field thanks to Marie Curie funding. So these are some pictures when I presented my work in these conferences, and I could actually also develop my networks and meet fellow researchers. Yeah, it's a very nice program, I would say, and overall I gain a lot of experience that is very valuable for me as a researcher and as a person as well. Well, with that, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Wichaka. You've been all over the world because of this Marie Curie Fellowship. And
Exactly.
yeah, it's really as what Gladys was saying, it's not just the ability to do excellent research, in the the best laboratories, but also growing your network, becoming part of this incredible community of scientists from all over the world. So I have a lot of questions now, and thank you so much to everyone, the 264 of you joining us this afternoon for all of these questions. I'll try to start from the first one, and yeah, any of the 3 of you can answer. So I have a question from Theodorus. Is there an age limit for an MSCA applicant? I often see that the vacancy is aimed towards an early career researcher. I am an MSc graduate, but I have 7 years research experience, 5 in a company and 2 in the academia. Am I eligible for these programs aimed towards early career scientists? Perhaps I'll give it to you, Susan, first.
Yes, there is no age limit as such, but you should be an early career researcher, which means you must be in the first 4 years of your research career, and you must not have been awarded a PhD before. So there is, for someone who is has kind of, I think Wichak did that as well. He finished his master's and then he worked, and then or if you take a break and you work and then you come back to research, that's fine. I think though, what the funders are also looking for, it's also an investment, yeah. So if you're already in your 50s and you want to start your research career, it's probably going to be unlikely. that you get selected. But of course, if you have you've spent some time working in industry and you gain practical experience, and then you say now you want to go back and obtain a PhD, and you're still within a reasonably reasonable age limit that you can showcase how this would take your research career on a different trajectory, I think then absolutely yes. But I've seen also someone was asking, is this an opportunity to do a second PhD? And the answer to this is no. If you already have a PhD, then you can no longer apply for this one.
Thank you, Susan. Gladys, would you like to add to that, or Richard?
Yes, I have something to add. One of our students is a family doctor, and he already practiced for many, many years, and he's in his 40s, I believe, and he is able to join my program, which is a PhD program, because he hasn't had the PhD degree yet. But that is definitely not a limitation for him, so I guess, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you. Richard?
No,
Do you
I
have
have
anything
nothing to
to
add.
add? Okay, all right, great.
No.
So I'll go to the next question. Is it possible to, this is coming from Kayanintias. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Very, very sorry. Is it possible to finish the PhD study faster? For example, for the PhD is supposed to be finished in 4 years in the Netherlands, but should you want to finish it in 3 years only, or maybe less? Is that possible? Susan, I'll give it to you first.
I think probably for the two experts to respond. Now, my understanding is that these are kind of structured programs, and you develop kind of a career development plan together with your supervisor at the beginning. Right. So you will define kind of the different steps in your PhD training, and I would think it's done in a way that it makes sense, that you wouldn't all of a sudden skip 12 months. But maybe it's for, maybe Gladys, because she's right in the middle of this, can tell us her experience.
Yes, Gladys,
so
please.
I'm a third-year student. I mean, like, everyone starts their research from day one, actually. But we have a contract that we have to finish our courses, you know, and I still have classes on my third year and next year. So I would violate that part of the contract then if I just finish. And also this funding is like a job. You get a you know, a wage and you know, a lot of funding also to gain a lot of, for me, the travel grants is the biggest thing. I wouldn't want to just cut that just so I can get the degree faster, you know.
Yeah, Wichak, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Well, for my PhD program, it normally it takes 3 years, and also so it coincides with the durations of the ITN network. But I believe, I mean, if you can finish faster, it is possible. But then I'm not sure about the implications with the joining Marie Curie network, because it's supposed to last for 3 years. Yeah, to add, to agree with Gladys, it's a really good opportunity actually to do more research. And I, from my personal experience, 3 years is not enough. It's very short to actually finish a PhD.
Yeah, I think in my case as well, it's a little bit different because I was purely, you know, hired as a research fellow, even if the program was a Marie Curie ITN. So I was doing, you know, my PhD separate from the research that I was doing with the program in Bradford. So I mean, if I was, you know, fast enough, I probably would have been able to submit it. But then again, as Susan was saying, at the beginning of your Marie Curie ITN, you have to develop this career development plan, because that's the idea of the Marie Curie ITN. So it has to be stated there over the course of, you know, the length of years, depending on your contract. It has to be stated there, you know, your studies, your research, your career, your other activities, you know, that will develop you as a researcher, even your activities outside of the area of or out of your environment. That's discussed, and you go back to that, you know, in the beginning, like where Gladys is so that they can monitor if you're doing well, you know, if there are some things that you need to adjust. And I think this is good. This is helpful because really the idea is for you to develop into the best researcher that you can be. So they are monitoring that to make sure that you reach your targets as a researcher. All right. Okay, so I'll go to the next question. This is from N. She hides her name as N. How about career after completing the program? Is there a possibility to keep doing research in Europe, or do we have to go back to Indonesia? Can I give that to Gladys first? We can't hear you, Gladys.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
perfect. Thank you.
for what I understand is that I don't have to go back. There's nothing in my contract saying that I have to go back. I know another scholarship that gives that in the contract that I have to go back for 2 years, but not for this MSCA.
Yeah, Wichak?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm now in Delft, basically. I just graduated in December, so it is totally possible to actually work in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I also did the same. After I did my ITN, I stayed a lot of years in Europe before coming back to Asia. So yes, you can, especially if you become a part of another project, which usually happens because after your Marie Curie, you are sought after as a researcher and as a scientist. You know, having this Marie Curie, especially now, you know that the one of the Nobel Peace Prize winners is actually a Marie Curie alumna. So because of that, you know, the prestige of having a Marie Curie fellowship, being a Marie Curie fellow, is very high, and so you are a prized possession. So especially if you have developed that kind of network during your stint, then that is really valuable for a lot of laboratories and a lot of universities and even industries. So I'll go to the next one and I'll give this to Susan. I'm applying for a PhD at the University of Helsinki. I am a foreign national from Asia, but a resident already living in Finland. My application is in International Relations on ASEAN Cooperation. The application is now closed as they prepare to select students for next January intake. How can I apply for this as I'm already placed in an application? Susan?
Well, you can't, because this is, as I said, this is not a fellowship as such. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
You're just frozen, but there must be a problem somewhere. No, you can't, because this is not a fellowship as such. As I said, MSCA ITN fellowships are bound to particular opening. So this is not an opportunity where you yourself identify a PhD opportunity somewhere and then you apply to get that funded. That's, in this case, this is not possible. You would have to look for ITN in your field that have openings for PhD students and then apply for this concrete one. But in your case, if you have a supervisor and an offer at the university in Finland, you would have to see whether the colleagues in Finland have maybe their own funds at national level that they could support you. But in this case, this is not a transferable grant. This is bound to a specific job offer. So Gladys and Wichak applied to a very specific opportunity and got the funding for that one.
Okay, I think that's very clear enough. So I'll go to a question specifically for Dr. Wichak. This is coming from Rehan. To pursue for postdoctorate, whether we have to contact with some supervisor first, as we do in a PhD, or will we have to apply for some post announced by Marie Curie? Wichak?
Yeah. Okay. In my case, I applied to a position that was posted by a professor. So I'm not funded by a Marie Curie program. So yeah. So there are both options work as well. It depends on the availability. I mean, you can also apply a Marie Curie postdoc positions. I think there are also funding for that. But yeah, in my case, I applied to a professor, and yeah.
Would you like to jump in, Susan? on the postdoc opportunities under Marie Curie?
Yes, after we finish this, I'm going to present to you on the MSCA individual fellowships, which are postdoc fellowships. So just have a little patience and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, that's great. Okay, there's a question, and I'll give this to Gladys. I have just recently received my bachelor's degree in psychology, and I am interested to continue my studies and research in the EU. However, I have not done many research projects back in university. How can I prepare myself to apply and be accepted in the EU Research Association or network? This is coming from Gabriela.
So what I understand is that you have to have a master's to apply for this particular, funded PhD program. And also in my case, when I applied, the university gave us like a list of points. If you have this, like a paper, first author, this much points, second author, this much points. So if you don't have enough points, maybe you won't be as competitive as someone who has a lot of points. So I guess I would suggest you to find a PhD, a master's degree, and also more experiences in attending conferences, giving, or even publishing if you can, because that will definitely help you when you start applying for this PhD openings.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add, Vichak?
No, that's enough.
Okay, then I'll give you the next question.
Okay.
This is a question from Ze. She asked, do we have to fulfill any IELTS or TOEFL score requirement before applying to the program? And is it possible to bring our family during the PhD program?
Yeah, I think there is you need to provide that you have a certain level of English proficiency. And again, as Susan already told, that it's more like a job application. So it depends on the professor and your CVs and your documents that you submitted. And regarding family, it is possible because well, from my personal experience, I brought my family to Barcelona. So yeah.
Yes, you do get a family allowance if you are bringing your family with you. That's one of the greatest advantages of the Marie Curie, unlike other grants, because there is, apart from the salary that you get, you also have a some contribution towards your family, having your partner or having your child with you. All right, thank you so much. There's another question, and this is really directed to Susan. Does MSCA ITN open for postdoc in business management field of research? This is from Wendra. So I think later on you will discuss about the difference between the ITN and the IF. Please, Susan.
Yes, exactly. So no, the ITNs are focusing on PhD training. So this is for early career researchers, and these are specific programs to help you obtain your PhD. For postdoctoral research, we have a different program. I'll talk about this in a minute. One are the individual fellowships, and we have something similar, which is a Cofund program. Just don't get confused with all the acronyms, but this is basically similar to an ITN, like a network of different institutions, and they are not training you for PhD, but they're looking for postdoctoral researchers. But I'll talk about this in a minute. But in a short, the ITN are not for you to do postdoc research.
Yes, the ITN are for early stage researchers, but under the Marie Curie, there are other schemes where you are able to do that if you are pursuing a postdoc. So there's a question, I'll give this to Gladys, about the joint doctoral. Is it possible that for a PhD student from the University of Indonesia and from Europe, considering that I'm now a PhD student in one of the universities in Indonesia? So I guess her question, her name is Fitri. Fitri's question is that she's studying in Indonesia, doing a PhD, and perhaps she's going to do part of it in Europe. Perhaps that's my understanding. Gladys?
I don't think that's possible in my funding scheme. What I understand is that you don't have a PhD yet, and also not in the process of getting a PhD. But Susan maybe can confirm that to me. Yeah.
Absolutely correct. You must not have started PhD training yet. So if you've already done that, then unfortunately you're no longer eligible. You have to finish your PhD and then apply for MSCA postdoc opportunities.
I'll stay with you, Susan, because I think you're the best to answer this. I'd like to know whether the MSCA are open for research areas or PhD students in the English language, teaching, education, linguistics. Could you please give information on the opportunity for this research area? This is from Susanna.
No, I can't give you this at the top of my head because there are literally hundreds of these ITN. And as I said earlier in the presentation, you have to look at the Euraxis portal to look for the openings that are there. This is a program that funds PhD programs in all different fields, right? So you will find openings in areas that are interesting to you. But I cannot assure you that there's something in English language teaching. If it's not there, it's not there. We can't make it up. So you will have to do your own research and look at the list of the available programs. If you can't find it, then unfortunately it is not available, at least not now. Do keep checking the Euraxis jobs portal regularly. As I said, a new batch of openings will be released in the first quarter of next year. And please do also look at that link that I have in my presentation of these 270 ITNs that are going to be launched soon, because you will find on that list what subject area they are in. So there might actually be something in English language teaching, but if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah, keep yourself up to date, and visit also the website of Euraxis ASEAN and the list, of course, that Susan will share, as was sharing, and will share again after this presentation, after this webinar. So just keep on looking. I think that's the key there, to be to be inspired to look and to search and to find the best fit for you. I have a question for both our Marie Curie fellows. This is from Raihan. Raihan is from Indonesia. He's saying, now I am studying master's in university at Tsukuba, Japan, belonging in the lab of endocrinology and metabolism. I would like to ask, is it possible to directly continue with this program after graduation? Also, I would like to ask Gladys and Wichak, what do you think differentiates you, very good question, from that got you chosen for this program? And how is the working culture in Europe?
Maybe I can start, because
yes,
actually
please,
my PhD project is about endocrinology. So
perfect. Nice
yes.
fit. Okay.
In my case, although I applied to my university and I was assigned to this project, so I'm not sure if you can guarantee, but I know that in a lot of PhD calls, a lot of them ask for a certain project and you apply for a certain supervisor, so you can look for that. So I believe it's possible, and there are a lot of biomedical research openings. I know it's an active topic right now. Do you want to add first on that question, Wichak, or should I continue?
I mean, if you want to continue, it's fine. I can answer
yeah,
later.
Just continue about the second question, like what differentiates you from the others, and how is the working culture in Europe?
I think for me, that question should be asked to the one hiring me, but I know that there's 100-ish people applying for my program. They first look at the administrative part, like the points that I told you. Of course, studying outside Indonesia was a big point of, showing that I have lived abroad and I can work while studying abroad. But then the interview part, I remember they were looking at your English skills. Can you speak English well? And then also I visited Poland before, and I know that was something, a big point for the interviewers, because the first question they asked was like, why Poland? And I was able to answer that well. And of course, the last part is about the skills. As I mentioned, I had the skills and I wanted to find a PhD that combines them. And for me, this was a good program for me. And I had to communicate that well. And turns out it was delivered well. The last part, the last question was about the culture. If I don't really remember.
Yeah, the working culture in the EU.
In the EU, well, if I compare it to Indonesia, it's not that different. I feel it's just the language barrier is the biggest for me personally, but everyone is very professional. We all work in labs. The lab in Indo and Poland is not that different. The culture-wise, we have meetings and presentations, and we all, it's just the language barrier. So I had to learn Polish, and that helped me a lot, definitely.
Thank you, Gladys. Wichak?
Yeah, sure. First, regarding whether you can immediately continue after you finish your study, yes, you can definitely. I also did that. And then about, yeah, I agree with Gladys. I couldn't really tell why I was chosen, but I think it was more about the match because the project that I applied to was very relevant to what I did during my master's thesis. And that's definitely a good point, I think, because I've done some research on that particular topic. And yeah, from the documents, more or less, and the interview process, there's nothing special, I think, from my side. But yeah, probably I just did very well during my interview. But yeah, and then regarding working culture, especially in Barcelona, and well, with my professor, it was very open. Like, I mean, I could discuss with him as much as I want, and also with other students within the network, we were having many collaborations throughout the project. So it was very nice experience, and yeah, in general, it was really nice. I couldn't compare with the working culture in Indonesia, especially in the university, but definitely here I met many experts that were working on the cutting edge problems. So that is probably one of the advantages of working here. Yeah.
Thank you, Wichak. Yeah, I have another question. There's actually a lot of questions. I hope that we can accommodate as much as we can. There's a question from Clara. And well, first of all, she's thanking all of you for the interesting presentation. It was mentioned earlier that the key of the program is mobility. If I am now studying a master's in one of the EU member states, and later I want to apply for the MSCA, does that mean I can only apply for a program in a country other than where I am residing now? Susan, I'll give this to you.
I'm not sure. I'm just thinking about the IFs now. Maybe let Gladys or Wichak reply first.
I can answer.
Quickly
Yeah,
look it up.
please.
Yeah, so you cannot actually apply for a position that is located in the same country as where you are now. So you have to be, there is a mobility rule which says that you cannot be a resident in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to apply to a position in a different country within the Europe. Yeah.
Yes. Would you like to add, Gladys? Yeah, I think that's very clear. I think in my case, like I did the Marie Curie, I was in Europe after I did my Erasmus, and I had to choose a place other than where I am residing. So it really supports what Wichak was saying. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Susan, or do you want me to go to the next question?
No, this is exactly, it's the same mobility rule as is for the rest of the fellowships, where you cannot have resided in the same country where you want to apply for more than 12 months in the last, I think, 4 or 5 years prior to application. That's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. This question from Pupu. Is there any opportunities to do PhD under your program, but also at the same time to continue our professional work? And how would the PhD program be carried out during the global pandemic? Wicek, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, sure. I think that is not possible to do because basically, well, when in my program I was paid as an employee, so I had to do full-time work. So that was not possible due to the law in Spain, I guess. And then for the second questions, probably Gladys can answer better about.
So I can answer about the first one also. I know in my contract I'm not allowed to get another income. That was heavily underlined, and everyone made sure that I only earn from this funding. The second question, I don't remember. What was it again?
Okay, I lost that. It's fine.
It's about doing your research during this pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
How's the research going to be?
For
I mean,
me,
you were telling us before we open the session about your experience. Perhaps you can share that.
For me, I'm pretty lucky that my experiment for my project right now ended before the whole thing. So I'm doing more data analysis, but I do have friends, the other 14 students. Right now, they are, someone is doing secondments for their getting data in Spain, so they are still going to work and going to lab, although with all the restrictions. My friends in Poland are also doing the same. They try to schedule so when they go to lab, other people don't have to go. So something like that. We're trying to manage.
Yeah, as everyone is, like all over the world.
Maybe if I can just quickly add.
Yes, please, Susan.
I think what they probably also mean is how is this affecting applications for new programs? And I think Marie Curie or the European Commission in general has really tried to put contingency plans in place to allow current fellows to maybe extend their fellowship so that they, of course, stay safe and healthy. And I think from what I see for the recruitment of new fellows, the application deadline has been extended, and I think they're working on plans to also have some form of hybrid system in place where maybe you start off with the program remotely and then you move later on. So of course this is a new situation for everyone, but I would just, I would, if I was looking for an opportunity, I would just think beyond COVID right now. I wouldn't let that worry me too much. Just be positive that this is going to be solved soon, but be assured also that they have contingency plans in place that this can continue as normal as possible.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the universities are adjusting, and hoping that we would have a better normal, of course, after this. But at the same time, the applications are still ongoing. If you look at the website, there are applications that are now opening. So just do your research, and then just hope for the best, and we hope that we can the global village can recover together and recover better after this. There's another question here from Mo Faidol. I am planning to take my PhD communication study at the University of Amsterdam in 2021, and I want to be a part of the Marie Curie Fellowship. Unfortunately, I can't find the exact information regarding submission deadlines. Would you mind giving me the submission date information for 2021 intake, please? Susan, perhaps you'd like to take this?
Well, maybe I use this as an opportunity to start the second part of the presentation.
Yes,
also,
please. Thank you.
Where we are. So if you don't mind, I will just share my slides again. And we just briefly talk about the individual fellowships, because obviously you're interested in learning about postdoctoral research opportunities. So the MSCA individual fellowships, or IF, these are fellowships for you to carry out postdoctoral research in Europe. There's an annual call for proposals. The one for this year just closed in September. The next one is going to be very likely in April with a closing date in September 2021. As I keep saying, we're in the transition between different funding programs. So the dates are not clear yet, but you should work on the assumption that in April the call will open and in September it's going to close. And I put here below, you need about 4 to 6 months to work on a strong proposal. So what are these things? These are personal postdoctoral fellowships. They are funding you for 1 to 2 years of postdoc research. You can do this with an academic or a non-academic host, but it is, again, as we just said, this is about mobility. You will have to do this in Europe. You cannot stay in Indonesia. You'll have to do this somewhere in Europe. Which topics are funded? It's open to all domains of research. This is different. What is the difference between the ITN that we've been talking about for the past hour? The ITN, as we said, PhD level, very specific job description. The IF are postdoctoral research fellowships. And what applies here is the bottom-up principle. What does that mean? It means you can identify your own research project. So this is your opportunity to come up with a proposal in a research field that you are interested in and get funded for it. Who can apply for this? This is open to all nationalities. So I've seen in the chat people are based in Indonesia, but they're not Indonesian. It doesn't matter. It's open to all nationalities. It's open to all academic disciplines, and there's no age limit here. But this is coming back to what I've said earlier on. This is a career development grant. So the funder wants to make sure you become a PI, a principal investigator. You gain a level of independence so that you can lead a research team. So of course you need to show in your application how this fellowship helps take you to the next level. If you're already very advanced, you're already there, they're not going to fund you. So you need to show how this is the fellowship that will take you to the next level. There are different eligibility criteria. The first one is qualification. So you need to have a PhD at the time of application, or at least 4 years of research experience. So that could be you have completed your master's and then you've spent 4 years doing hardcore research in a lab, or you've done research in a company. You need to, of course, be able to document that, yeah, not that you've just been putting in numbers. You need to have some form of paperwork to show that you really have done 4 years worth of research. As a qualifier, though, the large majority of successful applicants do have a PhD at the deadline. So when the deadline is the 1st of September, on the 1st of September, you need to hold your PhD certificate in hand. And the second criterion is mobility. As I said, you need to move to Europe, and the mobility rule applies. So you must choose a different country, as you can see here, from the one that you are currently based in if you are already in Europe. So if you're already in Holland, you cannot apply for a PhD for this, program in Holland. You must move to any of the other 39 countries. Where can you go? Exactly, this is where you can go. It's the same countries that were involved in the ITN earlier, so a huge variety of countries for you to choose from. The UK, in case you're interested, I can't tell you. The European Commission cannot tell you. It remains to be decided. What is unique about this? What is unique about this? Because it's a bottom-up approach where you decide on the research project you want to develop, you have to identify a supervisor and you have to work together with this supervisor. What the funder wants to see is that this is a win-win situation. They want to see that you have chosen this supervisor for reasons that are clear. Namely, there is good infrastructure, this is an experienced person, this person can help you develop your career, but they also want to see that you are supporting the supervisor. So what you bring to the table also helps the supervisor with their own research, or the institution to develop their own goals. So this is very much a joint effort. maybe more concretely, in this case, you would not develop a proposal, you have it already written, and then you write to Professor X in Germany and say, here, I want to do this at your institution, because you really have to do this together as a back and forth, together develop a project that both of you can benefit on. Institutions that you can choose, as I said, you can do this at a university, at a research institute, at a private company, whatever is best for you to have a successful research outcome. And you can also build in a secondment. What the Commission is very keen on is intersectoral mobility. So if you say, I'm with a host university to do this postdoc research, but as part of the training, I will move for 6 months to a company to do research there, they're very keen on that. The the evaluation criteria, just very brief: excellence, impact, and implementation. And you will receive the slides. You can look this up. Just as a summary, it needs to be a good idea. Don't get too nervous about the word excellence. It just needs to be a good idea. They don't want to fund someone who's going to just look at an index or something. It needs to be a novel idea. You need to be able to show how this has impact, not just on your very niche area of research, but it has wider implications. Everybody is trying to address big questions: climate change, aging populations, whatever. So you need to be able to show you doing this research is helping in a small way, answering bigger questions. And implementation, of course, means they want to see this is an applicant, they have thought about how long this is going to take them. They're not going to apply for 3 years and then all of a sudden they need 4 years, right? So this is what makes the evaluation criteria. What is funded? Again, this is last cycle's money. Just as with the ITN, with the PhD fellowships, this is a very generously funded program, which also includes a mobility allowance and a family allowance if you have a spouse or children. Now, there are other opportunities. We've mentioned them before. There are also, very similar to the PhD funding as part of an ITN, there are also postdoc fellowships as part of a different type of research consortium, which are called Cofund programs. Sorry, it's been a while since I wrote these slides. The difference, I've made this clear here, hopefully, in the slides. The individual fellowships for a postdoctoral fellowship, there is one call per year, and you apply with your own research idea. The onus is on you to come up with an idea and to find a supervisor. On the right-hand side, we have also postdoc fellowships that are part of already existing consortia. They're not called ITN. In this case, they're called Cofund projects. And this is similar. These will be like job openings where, again, they're looking for a postdoc to do research in a very specific field. So they're looking for someone with a very specific CV. And in this case, you would apply like you apply for a different job opening. And once again, everything is advertised on the Euraxis jobs portal. Where do you find information on everything that we've said today? There is so much information out there. Of course, the MSCA have their own website, and it is, I have to say, a fabulous website, lots of information there. And this is where you will find the call announcements. So when the next call for the postdoctoral fellowship, the IF, is going to open, you will find it on this website. You will apply through the participant portal. And of course, as Jenny has said, please do get in touch with us to find out what's happening and how we can support you. And I just use this opportunity to just share our contact details. If you have any question that we haven't been able to answer, you can send us an email here, asian@euraxis.net, and we will get back to you. So Jenny, with this, I'll stop sharing my screen. And then I don't know whether
Thank you
we
so
have
much.
time for a couple of questions.
Perhaps we can do 2 more and then we can wrap up, if that's okay with our fellows. I have a question from Hendrik. Is it necessary for the PhD student in Europe to have their own publications before having their final defense? And how important are those publications for graduation? Gladys?
So for me, I have to follow 2 rules. So first, the university rule, and then the Marie Curie's rule. So from Marie Curie, for my, so I have projects, I can make it for every year or every 2 years. But at the end of the project, I need to have at least a draft of a manuscript. That's the requirement. But for graduating my PhD from my university, I do have to have a publication too. So one is a original research paper, and the other one could be a review. So that is for my case.
Thank you, Gladys. Wichak?
Yeah, I think the rules are different for each universities or countries, I would say. In my case, there was a rule that I had to have at least 1 paper accepted before graduation, and that's it. But then your professors typically want more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're always encouraged to publish, especially
Exactly, yeah.
as you build your research along. And I think it's very good also, since that's the idea. You're developing yourself as a scientist, as a researcher. So the earlier that you do publish, it's great for your for your bio, for your CV, and it's great for the research community as a whole to see what you're working on. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for that. I'll just accommodate one more question, and then we can wrap this up. This person is doing an Erasmus Mundus joint master degree. This is from Atifa. I'll finish my master's in September 2021. Would it be possible to get this PhD offer that also starts in 2021, since I've received my master's scholarship? I think this person is a little bit concerned because they haven't received the master's certificate. Susan, would you like to answer that?
So the question is whether they can apply without having the master's degree yet, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe the others too know, but I would assume you will need to have the master's degree also at the application deadline.
I can add. So
Yes,
actually,
please.
I had this experience. I applied for the program, MSCA program, before I graduated. And so I haven't obtained my master degrees, and I got accepted also before I graduated. So it was possible, but then in order to process my applications to the university, I had to obtain my master degree. So even though I've been accepted to the MSCA funding program, but then I had to wait until graduations to officially apply to my university.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. I think this has been like a lot of information, and the great thing is you can get the recording. Susan is going to share it to you, and of course you have the websites that you've been shared, the MSCA website, you have Euraxis ASEAN, of course, so you will have everything, and we wish you all the best in this application process. But I'd like to take the opportunity to ask our panelists to give their last words, of encouragement perhaps to those people inside the room. I'll start with you, Gladys.
So I think from my experience, this funding has really helped me a lot to gain a lot of the skills that I want and gain a lot of networking that I was looking for. And it's really well organized, because I know moving abroad and with a different language is so difficult, but I got a lot of help from the organizers. So I wish you all luck, and I think you shouldn't really hesitate to apply if you find a program that fits you well. And keep in mind that having good experiences and all that will help you, but try not to stress out too much that it hinders you to apply. So just try, and good luck.
That's a very good advice. Don't stress yourself too much. Be kind to yourself, especially during this search and application process. How about you, Wichak?
Yeah, I agree with Gladys that this program is it's excellent. It's very good. That I mean, as a researcher, I developed myself a lot during my PhD training, and I gained fruitful collaborations with a lot of researchers as well. So if you could find a nice position that is suitable for you and your background, and please do apply. I highly encourage that. And yeah, and enjoy the process of getting your PhD at the end.
That's also an important point. You have to enjoy the process. So while you're doing this, you have to enjoy it. Susan?
Yes, I think the message is really just don't hold yourself back and don't doubt yourself. That seems to sometimes be the biggest stumbling block, that people get spooked and they think, oh, I'm not good enough and I'm not even trying. And I think that's just not the case. You need to have confidence in yourself if you want someone else to have confidence in you. And I think there's so many international PhD students that are part of this MSCA program that really it's a fabulous opportunity. And as Gladys and Wiechak said, it's fabulous. Just grab the opportunity. You have to do some homework, but just grab the opportunity and make it happen for yourself.
And there you have it. So trust yourself. You can definitely do this. You know, Gladys was able to do it. Wiechak was able to do it. I was able to do it. Susan is there to support you, of course, through this process. So please do find more information about the Marie Curie actions, and yeah, send in your application and believe in yourself. So with that, I wish you all a very good evening. We thank all the panelists all the way from Poland, Gladys, and all the way from the Netherlands, Wiechak, and of course all the way from Singapore. Susan, thank you so much for this time. We will be sending you the recording. Please check the Euraxis ASEAN page and have a good night. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.